Hi guys, it's Christina from Redefine Creative, and I wanted to start out with you kind of in real time here real quick to talk about where I want to go with this layout. And so I have pulled out a bunch of my Creekside collection, and then I've also pulled out a couple of things that I have left over that I knew I wanted to do certain projects with for my September Click Kit, but I just haven't gotten there yet. And so these are my 4 photos, and so I printed these out. I just put them into the Project Life app and printed them out so that I could have 4 smaller photos. And they're all just glimpses of some of my favorite fall things. And so that's what this layout's going to kind of be about. And I knew that I wanted to use this. This paper is from the Dream Big collection from Fancy Pants. It's called Field of Fancy. And it's a real subtle, just with a little bit of gold detailing on this kind of mint background. And then this is from the Jen Hatfield Homemade collection. And it's this beautiful gold foiled slice of like a tree. And so I knew I wanted to combine these two together, but I want to add some extra texture to this because I feel like a fall page and this idea of having this piece of a tree and all of this kind of stuff is needing some texture. So I'm going to pull out my sewing machine today rather than hand stitching with some very thin gold thread. And I'm not going to worry about following the gold foiling that's on here. I'm just going to add some circles throughout here with my gold thread to give it some additional texture. And so I'm going to do that before I come back with you. My idea right now is that this is going to only cover like this bottom kind of corner of this layout. And so I'm going to trim it first, and then I'm going to take it over to my sewing machine and do some stitching, and then I will come back with you and put you on fast forward and show you how the layout comes together. Okay, so I have done all of that stitching on my sewing machine where I just took some gold thread and kind of added some wonky circles and half ovals and that kind of thing to that wooden piece in the background. I did leave the string kind of long so that it does give it some of that additional texture and kind of outdoorsy feel. And then I have my 4 photos that I'm going to kind of try to stack up here. So I cut them apart and then I'm going to put them back together in kind of a wonky little way. And so these are just 4 photos that are some of my favorite parts of autumn or fall. And so one of those, that top pumpkin picture, I actually have to give credit. That one is from Sarah Scraps, so that's a picture that she took. And the other ones are just some photos that I found online. So I grew up my entire life in Michigan, where fall and fall colors in northern Michigan are a very big deal. And now I live in Arizona, where fall just means it's not 125, it's only 100. And so I want to document my love of fall for my kids because this is something that's a little bit foreign to them. And so I want to make sure that I have that documented for them and how much I love those seasons and things because this has not been a big part of their growing up. And so then I wanted to do just a little bit of hand stitching. So what I did is I took some hearts from the Creekside ephemera pack and I traced them in the middle of these slices of wood that were also in the ephemera pack. And then I'm going to go ahead and take a light mint color of thread and I'm going to stitch those hearts in the middle. And I wanted that to have kind of the look of almost like etching or a handmade feel in those little wooden pieces. And that's the color right there that I'm going to go ahead and stitch with. And I do that off camera. And so you can see I just have 2 little hearts. And I am going to layer those little wooden pieces up in my top left and bottom right corners. And then I'm just throwing in some little florals. And I also have those little hearts that I'm going to use to kind of finish off these little embellishment clusters. And then I do have an acrylic word that says lovely left over from my Click Kit for September. And so I'm going to layer that on top down in that bottom right hand corner. And so that's really going to be the majority of the embellishing that's going to go on this layout. I am going to come back and look through a lot of things to see if I can find something else that I want to use. And I was thinking about putting a frame up in that top corner. And it doesn't end up staying there. I end up doing something completely different up in that top corner. And then I saved a little piece of this background paper because I had thought about using it for my title, but I decided against it. So I just grabbed some really old letter stickers, and these are from KI Memories. Do you guys remember that company from like ever ago? I think these stickers are from like 2008. So I grabbed those, and they're actually a summer alphabet set, and you'll see the package here in a second because I do make it a point to show it to you. but I pulled out just the fall colors. And then I went ahead and took that top right-hand corner and flipped the page over, and I'm holding it in place with a couple of staples from my tiny attacher. And then I grabbed a little bit of the edging of that gold foil paper that I had left over and just tucked it up underneath. So that's going to show in that top corner. And then I went and grabbed some Spiegel Mom Scrap sequins, and so I grabbed some green and some clear and then some yellowish colored ones. And I'm going to sprinkle those throughout my 3 embellishment clusters around my photos. Yeah, there's those stickers. See, they're summer themed, but I pulled out all the oranges and yellows and greens, and it totally transformed it into fall. And so now I was just trying to decide if there was anything that I could put up in that top corner, and I decided to leave it just as that little flipped over spot. And so that's going to do it. So I combined some gold thread machine stitching to give some texture to that gold foiled wooden piece. And then I added just a couple of small details of hand stitching, because I want you guys to really see that it doesn't have to be a big, long, complicated stitching project to add a little bit of a handmade feel. And that's going to do it. Do make sure that you check out Kira's video for Stitch It Sunday as well, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!